All right. Well, we're going live. Just check the group, see if we're live.
All right. We're supposed to be live right now? Yeah, I'm so good with this tech.
Okay, yeah, we're up.
All right.
We're on in. I'm going to see if I can grab the video URL.
All right.
Get off.
Man, it's been a minute since we've been on. I feel like, or I know you've been on a bit, but yeah, I haven't been on in a while.
I'm getting on your.
All right, let me turn it off. All right, we should be good now. Are we better?
Testing. I hear myself.
Can you guys hear? You can hear yourself?
I hear myself. Now it's good. Now it's good.
Perfect. So we all set?
Yeah, we're live. There's 5 people watching saying, hey, we're ready.
Yeah, I know. I'm so excited to be back, man. We got so much cool shit I want to talk about. It's been a while since I've been on. I know Ballz has been on a bit. We are planning on being live quite a bit more, sharing with you guys a ton of new things that we've been learning within our agencies. We've been super blessed here recently. We have scaled up tremendously. I think we've got 11 people over here now at B-Top Local, full-time in-house plus some VAs, and things have been going crazy. And that's led to a lot of fun and a lot of good client stories, a lot of issues with Facebook that some of you may have been noticing over the last 8 weeks since they made that big update on September 18th. And then, yeah, we got some good stories about Thailand here and how to spend a lot of money real quick in a couple weeks. I just spent the last couple weeks out there in Bangkok, Phuket, and Krabi Island, and it was a pretty amazing time. But my God, I'm definitely glad to be back home in America. That's for sure. We got it pretty good over here. That is isn't that the truth, man? How you doing, Ballz?
I'm doing good, man. Just working on a lot of different things at once, as usual.
Yes.
Trying to get on here as much as I can with other stuff going on. But then we made a firm commitment to jump on some lives and produce some content for the group, which I'm excited about. We'll probably chat about what's to come here in the next over the next, I guess, hour or so that we're online. For everybody watching, if you just let us know you're watching, leave a comment below the video. If you have any questions, anything specifically you want us to chat about, feel free to go ahead and comment as well. I'm just getting ready to set this messenger bot real quick. So
anything you guys have, I'm so happy to be back. I got a ton of shit I want to go over here and share with you guys today. But if you guys have any questions on anything Facebook related, sales related, webinar related, messenger chat related, let us know. Recently decided to really jump into YouTube and Instagram. Haven't started yet, but that's where I'm really going to be going next. Be working on building some stuff through there. I think it's super good to make sure you've got multiple different ways that you can help out your clients, help out your people, build your brand. So really excited to share some stuff like that as we learn. Probably going to keep a pretty good running log of the trials and tribulations of trying to build some followings and do some of that shit, because I've never really been out and posted on social media. I had to look up how Instagram works yesterday. I don't even know what the fuck a hashtag is. So it's going to be a bit of a learning curve for me here. But I'm excited, man. What's that?
We got Christian on.
Yeah, Christian, how you been, man? It's been a while. Haven't talked to you in a bit. I think we're going to be doing Fuck It Friday again tomorrow, too, so we can have everyone on there, too.
Yeah. Well, Christian just passed his real estate exam, so he's pumped.
Sure, we'll
tomorrow if he's not out celebrating. Hey, whoever else is watching, leave a comment. Let us know you're here, because it doesn't tell us who's watching. James, what's going on, man? Jameson, I'm sorry.
Jameson.
Chavez.
Where's Jamie and Ross? Jamie, I was hitting up Ross. We got to talk this weekend, man. How things been with you? Looking forward to catching up. I feel like I've been so out of the loop the last couple of weeks, man. Being in Thailand, it was far away, and I didn't have an international plan. They told me that the Wi-Fi was gonna fucking work, and guess what? Didn't work anywhere. The fucking Wi-Fi. And I'm staying at hotels that were like fucking hell of expensive night beach villas and stuff. Like it was an experience, to say the least. That's for sure.
For a wedding, right?
Yeah, get this shit. So, I mean, we got stories on how to spend it, but you guys watching. So my friend She's one of my best friends. She asked me to be the celebrant officiant. I had no idea really what that actually entailed or was. Never done it before, anything. And we get there, and I have no chance to rehearse my script. I have no idea what's going on. We have no idea how to do the ring exchange. I don't know how to get through the vows. I don't know how to do any of the stuff. The wedding planner wasn't helping me. The bride, she was way too busy with everything else. We couldn't do the rehearsal. So, and at the same time, I also felt like shit. So I literally had to start drinking beer at like noon on the day of the celebrant thing, like so I could memorize my script and not fuck it up, because it was a hell of expensive wedding on a hella nice resort in Thailand on the beach, and like I'm in charge, and I memorized the script, and I get to about beer 6, and we're getting ready to announce everything. That's when I learned I'm running the whole wedding and the after party and the emceeing and doing all the stuff I knew nothing about. Fucking winged it and made it through. I got to thank God for the Chang beer. For the rest of my life, I'm going to remember the Chang Thailand beer, because it perked me up, woke me up. And afterwards, people are coming up to me. They're like, dude, are you a celebrant? Are you an officiant for a living? Like, is this what you do? And I'm like, fuck. I had no idea what was going on. Never married anyone before. Like, but it was a great experience.
So did you end up walking into any random houses at 7 a.m.?
No. No, I did escape a cab car though that kept us locked in Bangkok. That was pretty ridiculous. Thailand was quite a fucking trip. If anyone's at Bangkok, is one of the most insane cities I've ever been to in my entire life. They're just like millions and millions and millions of people there. There's motorbikes everywhere. Kids driving the bikes that are like 8 years old, helmetless. Just like driving in front of vans that we're in. Like, I'm just like, shit, man. Like, what?
There's no regard over there. They don't give a fuck.
No, I don't know how people don't die nonstop on those roads, dude. It was so dangerous. Like, anyone who had anxiety problems would not be able to last, man. It was crazy.
Awesome. So Nick, to give you a little background, he's been for those of you who haven't really followed us a lot, Nick's built his agency into the brick and mortar style, and they have a team of about 11 employees now. And one of the things that I think Nick was struggling with initially was, how am I going to go away for 2 weeks when I'm responsible for so much here? And over like the past 2 or 3 months, I've just seen him start delegating and putting that stuff into other people's hands, so that he was able to leave for 2 weeks. And the business, correct me if I'm wrong, but the business still got more clients, even though you're in charge of sales. The business still kept growing while you were gone, which is one of the things that a lot of people don't think is possible, because they feel they're so tied to the business. And I know that maybe you were skeptical, in the beginning once you started building this business. It's like, how am I going to pull away from this, right? So I don't know if you can chat about a little bit about that experience for the people that are looking to possibly even do it your style, which would be, hey, let's build a physical location, bring in-house employees. And also there's people that could do the same thing in a remote position, which is kind of more what I'm leaning towards, is to build with remote teams. So go ahead and tell us about your experiences with that, being able to pull away and just take it from there.
Yeah. No, I think it's a great thing, and it's something that everyone's going to hit at a certain crossroad with your business, especially once you start getting past that $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 a month number. We made the decision back in February. So obviously a lot of you guys may or may not know, I do have a 50-50 business partner, Ben, who was amazing while I was gone and was able to keep it all running smooth, did well, and really didn't have to come to me with much other than the normal fires that we see every day. But back in February, we decided we were going to go away from like a lifestyle agency and really build a long-term sellable asset business, really build something legit, lots of clients, employees in-house, and really just have an agency over here. And so we started hiring then, and it's just been a whirlwind since then. I mean, we did, almost 300,000 last month. So we've got 11 employees on staff now. We've got pretty much everything covered, where to this point, I brought on a new sales guy who's doing really well. We've got a good sales team now. I've still got people working for me in Northern California as well. And it took a lot as far as getting everything set up. You have to hire the right people, find the right people. But you get to a certain point where you're basically just overwhelmed. And, we get into business not to work 150 hours a week. I know that's like what people love, and, that's what they all want to do and everything. But, at some point you really want to start outsourcing, and learning how to hire and manage and lead has been one of the biggest challenges, but also most rewarding over the last few months. And, like you said, things ran smooth while I was gone. We definitely brought on a bunch of new clients. Things are great here. And we actually hired someone while I was gone, because, we started to put those leadership pieces in place and giving people authority to make decisions and entrusting them with things. And, it's been a bit of a process, but it's been, completely worth it.
So you said the hiring process, or has Ben taken care of that? Or did you like your sales manager or your new sales manager, whoever that is that's running sales? I'm assuming he may have hired another salesperson, or is
so we brought in a Facebook person. So we brought in someone who is knowledgeable there. And normally I'd be involved in the hire, but we knew what we were looking for because we weren't rushing this hire because it was someone who's going to be handling our ads. We oversee. I mean, we're running 100 to 150 campaigns at a time, and shit just breaks. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but if you ever see bugs with any of your campaigns, imagine overseeing 100 of them every single day and trying to keep track of that. So we really didn't want to rush it, and I had already seen this guy's resume, but I trusted them to make the decision. It came back, met him this week. I think he's going to be a great fit. He's already bringing a bunch of good ideas. But eventually, I'm going to be, alleviating myself from a lot of the hiring process and really focusing on the bigger vision, taking the brand further, and really scaling this thing up. Our goal is $1 million a month by next year.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, man.
Has a question, Nick. Do you or your team still perform video audits?
Great question. Yeah, no, absolutely. No, not custom like I was doing when we get started. Now we've got a pretty strong inbound process that we've built on Facebook because we have ad dollars that we can spend. We were able to test. And then I've got someone who comes in and really closes the deals down, who he's an absolute monster beast, amazing salesman. And then I've got a great team in Northern California that does a lot of the setting for him and the following up and getting people to, his types of calls. And our goal is to get them to, be fully closing here in the next couple months and build a team around him. They were still sending video audits out, my people in Northern California, up until about 2 months ago or so. So it's only been very recently that we've moved away from that. And that's simply because we've, built an inbound ad funnel that is drawing in new clients utilizing webinars and some other strategies.
Nice.
Yeah, that's a great question though, Chavez. It still works though. I see Ross. I know Ross, wherever he is, I know he's still pulling clients with that and getting people in. And if everything got taken away from me tomorrow, the first thing I would do would be sit behind this freaking camera and Jimmy rig some shit and shoot him out and send him some thank you notes. That would be the number one thing I would do.
With Ross, it's funny because remember I messaged you a while ago and I'm saying, hey, that video prospecting method could be systemized in a way where you don't have to do all the shit like you were doing one at a time. So like I worked with Ross for like a couple of hours here and there, figuring out how to make shit work with Zapier. Then him and Jameson more so than Ross. Jameson went and really figured it out on how to make it so once the videos are recorded, like he recorded 150 videos, right? Yeah. Mass batch them up, and then once it's done, like once the batch is done, it's in a specific folder that's on Google Drive, and then from there it uploads to YouTube, sets up the quick mail, pulls in the data, like all that crazy shit that I talk about in the other for the cold email attributes and stuff. But they took it to another level and made it so that basically once the videos are recorded and put in a folder on a desktop, all that shit happens automatically. Like it gets sent out, everything.
So they took the video prospecting method I had, brought in your side of the automation things, combined it. And like I'm looking at something from this Monday from Ross, Monday morning email campaign, scheduled a trial call by 9 o'clock in the morning for noon that day, with it. So that's freaking awesome. Like I would have never been able to do that tech shit a year and a half ago, but you plow your way through it.
We'd have to get it set up.
I could do it now. That's freaking awesome.
Some other cool tech stuff that we want to implement. I think with your agency, we were talking a little bit about it earlier, and I think that's kind of stuff like innovation on that end, just to help, especially if you guys are like solo or just like wanting a partner. It's difficult a lot of that stuff gets you bogged down. So if you could spend 2 or 3 hours getting something to be systemized, and then, hey, I'm going to do this front end stuff and all that shit's going to happen on the back end, it'll save you a ton of time in the future, right? So you can do other things, close more deals, hire people to do more stuff for you. So I think it's powerful. I think it's something that needs to be talked about more, right?
Taking that front to save you down the line is so freaking powerful, man. It's even more powerful now because now all I watch is my time. That's the most important thing to me every single day, because I have very little. So I have to be very smart with it. And I'm still trying to work on getting better with it. But I see a good question here from Chavez. On average, how long does it take to close a client once they're down your funnel from start to finish? That's a great question, man. It totally depends. And I know that's not the best answer in the world, but let's say for your average $1,500 management fee, $1,000 to $1,500 ad spend, which is really where a lot of us, who are following this are at. It can be anywhere from 48 hours, 72 hours to 2 months. So it really just depends on the client, where they're at in the process, how set up they are. We have a very strong first call and then closing call trial process that we have that's been perfected over the last year because, I've closed over 100 clients myself. So we really know what to say. We know how to structure it. We know how to set it up. And it's pretty bulletproof with it. But if we're running a trial, then it could be, 5 to 6 days. But it's typically a very quick close process. I would say on average, 10 days is the longer period. 2 weeks would be the longest. That's for the lower end deals. Obviously things that are $3,000 that require multiple sign-offs, that require multiple decision makers, those can take quite a bit longer. But I would say if you're in the 7 to 10 range, that's where you want to be because you want to catch them quick.
Yeah. I had a call today with somebody who is from a smaller town up in the Midwest. And their budget's just not typical to most of the clients I deal with that have bigger budgets, but they were referred to me, so I was like, okay, let me have a chat. And I think a lot of times, I guess it's something that people struggle with that are going after these clients that maybe are not in don't have a really well refined business where they can afford to spend $3, $4, $5 a month. It's not that they don't want to; it's just it's not feasible for them. But I had a call with this guy, and I worked out a deal on the spot that he was comfortable with, right? I shot him out the invoice, probably get paid on it today or tomorrow once he's done with his day. So, it's possible to close them quick. The bigger deals, for me, I have a client now that's paying $5,500 a month, and that deal took 2 months. And it wasn't because they didn't have the money. It's because once you start dealing with a higher ticket client or a higher ticket spend, they also have budgets and they also have to not only get approvals like you mentioned, but they also have to say, hey, we're spending so much. They have to figure out, okay, if I stop this over here, it's going to cut off here. So now I can move the budget then, right? So they have to allocate that stuff. And right now they're working on their 2018 budget for that. And I'm anticipating to pull, a nice $100,000 budget out of their overall budget, for the year. So
absolutely. And speed also can be directly related to how confident you are in your pitch and how you position yourself. If you walk in, and I know this is it's esoteric in a way, but if you walk in knowing that you're the one with the keys to them making money and you're going to blow up their business and that you can press a button and they're going to make cash, that's just going to come across and you need to own it the whole time. So don't budge on your unit. Don't budge on your management fees. Don't budge on anything because that just makes you don't want to discount your services. You don't want to make it seem as if you're cheap. And you just want to continue to remind them how much money they're going to be able to make off of you. I know we've talked about this several times on this video, but it can never be said enough. Walk them down the path of how much money they're going to make from every schedule they get, from every lead. Okay, so this lead could be worth $4,000. All right, you're going to get 10 schedules, 3 of them are going to close. That's $12,000. What's $2,000 from this point? And we got no contract. Sign me up today. You know what I mean? By the way, I fucking love that shirt.
I got it at an event last year in Texas. But yeah, to your point, I had that conversation with them, right? And it's like, all right, hey, you know what? I'll work out a deal with you because I worked out a lower upfront but they already know that after that low upfront, after we get to this result, which I know is going to happen in a week and a half, 2 weeks, I'm going to shoot them out an invoice for the full boat.
Yeah, I mean, there's ways to do that without, obviously, when you say discount, like you said, with pilot programs, things like that too can be great for getting people. And we technically, we do free trials, we give people a taste. But we're gotten to a point where I can get someone on a call who thinks they're going to have a free trial call, and all of a sudden they're signing up without even a trial. They're skipping it. We're just throwing the leads on the back end, which is something that's been really powerful that we've done. We'll offer 10 free leads, as a lot of people know that we do. And
your guarantee.
What my salesperson will do is we have a 30 lead guarantee for $3,000. And so what he'll do is just be like, look, let's just get started right now, get the full program. We'll give you 40 leads month one, 30 leads after that. So he's basically skipping that whole thing, and it's genius. I mean, he heard me do it once on one of the calls when we first got here, because it was just came to me at the top of my head. I'm like, man, let's just go. Like, what are we waiting for? And now he's
That way I did it. That way.
he went and did it. Yeah, it's been awesome, and that's been working a good amount of the time. It's actually been really cool to see. So that's definitely been.
Ask you a question, because I know some people are gonna be nitpicking at it. You don't cut off the campaigns after 30 or 40 leads. Right?
Never. We're super transparent with how much money goes to ad spend and how much money goes to management fee. We're not in this because we still operate month to month, which we actually are looking at changing. I don't know if I've talked with you about that, but I'll talk with you about what I think we're gonna do. We have to earn business every month, and I sell that to people. It's like, look, dude, like, I mean, I'm not going to screw you over or take away your stuff because 1 month and give me $2,000 isn't going to do anything. Like I'm in this for the long term. We need to have a long retention based business, or else it's not going to work. And then we get the 30 lead guarantee. Obviously that's a lower number, but it does alleviate a lot of people who have been burned in the past by other marketing companies. One thing I would suggest selling your programs as in a lot of ways is, well, one, I talk about this all the time, but I'm a huge believer in niching down and figuring out, what works, going after one specific industry and duplicating those types of funnels. But if you sell it as they're like buying into a system and you can get this thing turned around quickly for them, like within a week, for example, you're faster than 99% of the marketing agencies on the planet for getting people leads. They're used to dealing with newspaper, which can take 6 weeks. TV can take 8 weeks. Hell, a lot of marketing companies, SEO, 3 to 6 months before you start seeing leads. So sell it as buying into a system that is automated, consistent, and can just turn on the leads. That's been really successful for us. And, sell it as a proven system. That's another reason why I fully believe in niching down, even if you have to go prove it for somebody or whatever, do the whole fucking free trial approach. But then you can just say, hey, you're buying into a proven system, and you're buying into a membership program of people who are doing this. Like we're going to start focusing on actually turning this into a membership program as well, and starting a Facebook group for clients and doing some of that big stuff that we'll talk about in times to come, that we're just game planning now. It's the holiday season. Also, now is the time to be game planning and working while everyone else isn't. And it's also the time where you can reach business people. During the holidays, they're on Facebook. If you're running Facebook ads, they're out there, they're checking their emails, because when you own a business, and a lot of you guys can relate, you don't really have, you have holidays, don't get me wrong, but it's always in the back of your mind, and if you've got less time dealing with your day-to-day work with the business, then they can start thinking about the game planning for next year. January of this year was like the craziest, most insane month of my life. We absolutely exploded in January, to the point where I have a pretty strong work ethic and I can take a lot. And I almost got to the point where I couldn't handle it. That's when we decided we're going to hire someone February 1st. She's still with us, and she's our VP, runs the show. Fucking amazing person. But I don't even remember where I was going with that. Well, it was like, January was fucking crazy. That's right. Bye, Lori. And yeah, that was the time, either be planning, working, building out your tech stuff, getting ready to launch. January is going to be a month where you can explode. Everyone's going to want to blow up their business. Everyone's going to have New Year's resolutions about their business. And so take advantage of that, ride that wave. People's budgets, if they do have budgets set up with their businesses, with their corporations, whatever, they haven't necessarily been, I guess depending on how big you get it and planned out, but don't take this time off. In my opinion, if you really want to go big. I'm not saying don't spend fucking Christmas with your family or whatever, but now's the time where you can game plan, and you can get a hold of these guys during this time, because their businesses are going to be shut down.
Oh yeah. There's that big period of time, like right now, next week, Thanksgiving is going to be basically a long weekend starting from Thursday to Sunday, right? But more importantly, Christmas, the way it falls, is basically going to be a whole week off. Nobody's going to be doing anything that week. And then that following week is like New Year's. So there's like a good 7-day window of being able to target people. And one of what stuff we're talking about for some other projects is running ads starting that day. I'm allocating at least $3,000 in budget to run ads for my business in that time frame as well. So, right now you have 2 weeks to get all your shit set up to do a big push for December. Right. December, to set the stage for your business for January, right? So December you got to push out, January you got to start the deals, right? So even if you sign people up in December, I don't even know if I would say, all right, January 1st we're on, January 1st we're on, right? Like that's how I'm planning on doing it. Just because I know, hey, that whole down week, well, a lot more time to get shit done when there's not a lot of things going on, right?
And no client distractions, all that stuff. And that's really such a great time to take advantage and work on your business, work on yourself, reflect on the past year, reflect on what's worked, what hasn't, learn, train, study. I'm still training as much as I freaking can. Learning as ton as I can. I was watching courses all day yesterday afternoon, learning new things, looking to implement, and just never being, never settling, for anything. You got a few clients and that's awesome. Realize that shit's going to happen. Things are going to change. Make sure you stay up on it. Facebook is getting more and more unfriendly every day. And, we got to be prepared for that. Shit is changing. A year and a half ago, we had the huge explosion of all the Facebook ad agencies. Don't get me wrong. It's still unbelievably profitable, still works, still going to be great. But
half of those probably aren't even around right now.
Oh, 90%. Come on. Yeah, most people don't ever fucking do anything or take any action. One of my mentors, now I'm in his mastermind, and he's been a huge influence in me the last year and a half, is Alex Becker. And he literally is just like, it's fucking hard and it's rough at the beginning, all this shit, but it's like, it's so much better than being poor for the rest of your life or being in a spot you don't want to be. And he just always said, just fucking do it. Just go, shit's scary, shit sucks. Think about those things that have been holding you back and go after them. We're all afraid of things. We're all uncomfortable with stuff. And now is the time to really start reflecting. That year's ending. 2018 is already fucking coming around. We're a year older. Like, what are we waiting for? Anything you've thought about doing, wanting to do, let's just start planning on doing it. That's my thing. Like, I'm looking to get unfucking comfortable. Looking to get as uncomfortable as I can. When I was sitting there in Thailand, I was like, man, I'm just way too comfortable right now because I didn't have to worry about the business. I didn't have to hear what's going on. And it almost put me on a weird edge. I'm kind of a psycho though. I really love to work and I can't wait for weekends so I can work undistracted and all that shit. But you feel so much better and fulfilled if you put yourself in slightly uncomfortable situations every week. Everything that we want is really just on the other side of our fears, whether that's calling that business, reaching out, shooting that email, shooting that YouTube video, or doing a Facebook Live, whatever it might be. So that's a little tangent on fucking, attacking your fears, but just do it and just don't be a babe about it and go. The alternative's the worst part. If your people who are looking to grow business to do that, myself included, it's because I didn't like what was my surroundings were. So we just fucking go for it.
Wise words, my friend. Wise words.
Oh, yeah. I've been reflecting a lot. I actually celebrated my New Year last Sunday of this week. I was like, all right, it's 2018 for me right now because I wasn't going to fucking wait for, January 1st to start doing resolutions and do all this stuff. So, I have got my entire next, 45 days planned out, got my entire list of things to do. Big shit's going to be coming. Completely going to revolutionize things. I'm super excited. I stopped gambling every weekend, spending 16 hours a weekend, Saturday and Sunday betting on football. I won a couple $1,000s in case anyone was wondering, but the ROI wasn't there. So is where I wanted it to be. I've got my shit planned out, ready to rock and roll.
Awesome. Yeah. You mentioned a couple of things in your little rant before that we're definitely going to talk about today. But I do want to, Travis had a question. I also want anybody who's watching right now, comment, let us know you're here, and ask some fucking questions. We're about to get into some shit that you touched on, about Facebook and Facebook. So, and I think this is going to lead into a conversation of trends and where stuff is going. But Facebook threw a big curveball to, a lot of agencies, a lot of people with a lot of different, our style agencies, with their algorithm change back in September. And then it wasn't drastic like Google one, but it did cause some hiccups in some campaigns, right? But I think more to the point is they made those changes, and when looking at how those changes affected things, and I kind of mentioned to you yesterday, a lot of those changes revolved about improving the platform. However, it improved the platform for a certain subset of the market, which is the majority of their income, right? A majority of their ad revenue is coming from the e-commerce space. So a lot of those improvements were to help the e-commerce people, especially leading into Q4, right? Hey, let's get this right for Q4 for these guys. Because literally, the timing is not to be like forgotten, right? We're leading in Q4, but doing that kind of broke some shit for the ad agency that are doing lead gen. And I know you saw a lot of shit in your campaigns. I saw some shit in my campaigns where, we needed to have that 50 conversion per day. And then I found something yesterday which may tie into helping people with it. But we'll talk about a little bit about your headaches with that, and I'll tell you some funny stories for me and how that led into something even better for me. But yeah, talk about your experience. You had like fucking 60 or 80 campaigns running, and then shit hits the fan. Some break, some are fine. What the fuck?
Yeah. So for anyone who's watching who wasn't sure exactly what the change was, I'm still not exactly sure, even though I've spent hours on the phone with both. We have basically 2 Facebook reps at this point because we spend over $1 million a year on Facebook, blah, blah, whatever. And I don't even think they knew what the actual change was. But in a nutshell, you need to get 50 conversions per week per ad set using the conversion pixel for it to actually be effective and, be good for the long term. Which basically they said that it didn't change anything from prior to that, which was bullshit. We saw massive variance fluctuations. We had to do all kinds of different testing to get through these waters. We're still doing a lot of testing. It's still throwing us some curveballs. But yeah, we had 80 campaigns, and we had campaigns randomly just shutting off and stopping. Pages were unpublishing on themselves. So we had it was a fun couple months, trying to monitor the campaigns and make sure they're all still actually running, because Facebook hasn't turned them off because of a bug is literally a full-time job, like literally. So a few of the things that they talked to, and I'll share some of the information from our Facebook rep and where they were going. So 50 ad set or 50 conversions a week. And a lot of us, we run the conversion pixel, right? And that's what we've started a lot of our things on. We've done clicks to website in the past. We've tested it still. A year ago, we used to do it a lot. But for the most part, for the last, for 9 months of the year, we were starting everything in a new ad account with the new pixel under conversions. Well, this literally just led to just campaigns bombing, new campaigns, new people, new trials we were running, all kinds of shit. So what they told us to do, and we actually saw some good success with, and it's something for you guys out here who are watching to, give a test to and see. Again, I can't guarantee it's going to work because it's like 50-50 hit or miss, is the view content pixel and going from there. Because what they wanted to do was, so for example, with e-commerce, what they did is instead of doing optimizing a purchase, if you weren't getting 50 purchases a week, they wanted you to move it to add to cart and optimize for that. So the equivalent of that when you're doing local business lead gen is going from conversions to view content. It's not conversions to click to website. Again, you can test that as well. We haven't seen very much at all still any success with that, even though we've been testing it. But view content in a lot of places has helped us actually get conversions, get things going. Again, that and really just throwing things in random pixels. Random pixels has been huge. The key to all of it, guys, is you have to fucking test everything. Try 1-day versions, 7-day click. Yes, theoretically, we should be in a 1-day click conversion for most of the lead gen style stuff we're doing. Again, this is all for specific small business, local stuff. Anytime we're doing national campaigns, anytime we're doing bigger stuff, throw out what I'm saying out the window. It's a whole new strategy. But test everything. Test different audiences. Change the mile radius by like 1 mile. Sometimes that'll throw off the entire algorithm and turn you into a freaking winner. Change it if you're running age 60 plus. Change it to 59 plus. Change 1 year in there. It literally can trigger the algorithm, get things back going. That's how touchy and crazy it all is. We're still figuring out what the best options are. I've talked to a lot of Facebook people that are still doing the same. The real key is test everything, because everything's different in every single market, because it has to do with what other advertisers are doing in that specific market. So that's why you're going to see fluctuations. Yes, a lot of things, if something works in California, it's probably going to work in Portland, but it might not. So you might need to be able to play around with that in there. And so test the background options, because they make a huge deal. It's kind of why I chuckle when I talk with business owners and they're like, oh, well, I'll just do it myself. I'll press biggest post. I'm like, I just started laughing, because if you look at it, there's like 100,000 different ways to set up a campaign. And that we're not even talking ad copy or landing page shit yet, with all the background stuff. So long story short, test everything. If the conversion pixel isn't working and you're not getting 50 ad sets a week, give view content a shot. We have seen success with that. And then also pixel switching up. The pixel is incredibly, incredibly important. It pisses me off, but it's super important to season.
What pixel switching? Like you're taking pixels from one ads account?
Did we just switch ad accounts?
Oh, so you just make a new ad account for that client.
What's that?
You just make a new ad account for that client, or you take another ad account and run some other clients in that one?
We're putting most of them into one ad account at this point. That's a lot of what we're doing. And when I say like we all have to figure out, obviously we always have to be testing in the back end. We've still been able to produce great results for clients, but it just takes a lot of testing and, going out there, because even our reps didn't know what the best thing to do was. In fact, one of our reps was emailing one of my employees and she was saying, put it on the add to cart pixel. My employee did it because she didn't want to like bug me or anything. You'll say that employee doesn't work here anymore. But I'm like, what the fuck do you see at cart on this landing page? Like, why are we running this from an add to cart pixel? Like, what are you talking about? So testing everything is super, super important. And when people ever give you shit, I touched on this a minute ago, because it does come up, well, why can't I do it myself? Or why would I pay you XYZ management fee? Bring up everything I just said. Thousands and thousands of different ways to set up a combination of an ad before we even start discussing ad copy and landing page format. I mean, and that's just the truth at this point. The barrier to entry is going up, which in a way, that's why we were really annoyed at first, but then we thought it was, okay, this is good, because there's going to be less people flooding the marketplace, because it's going to be a harder learning curve. It's going to be harder to get into and harder to really master. So that's all tools that you can use in your sales conversations as well. I like to just throw it at them, during a demo and just go through and show them. So yeah, we've got the 1-day conversion, we got the 7-day. I like to, literally get super technical with them, throw in a bunch of interest, really show everything that we can do and that can be done out there, because there's so many different combinations that can lead to success.
Yeah, one of my clients had spoken to someone, they mentioned, oh, are you doing that purchase behavior thing? I'm like, I told him, listen, I'm going to give it to you straight. That's just shit people say because it'll make them sound smarter and they think it'll work. But you're running in a super local campaign, and if you add that barrier, your audience is going to be like 3,000. So you're not going to get any fucking leads, right?
It's like direct adding income targeting. Direct adding income targeting, when you just do it with doing for the super rich people, guess what? That's going to jack up your CPM. Guess why? Because everyone else wants to do that too. It's sure, it can work. I'm not saying it can't work targeting.
I do.
Yeah, it can. I'm saying I'm not saying it can't work, but it is going to increase your CPMs. It could end up being good long term. But again, so much of it comes down to testing. There isn't really like a cookie cutter answer like there may have been a year and a half ago. Because that's what there really was. I feel like anyone could have gone on and thrown up anything and they could be doing stuff. It has gotten tougher. That doesn't mean that it can't be done, and it can't be done extremely profitably. And it's actually probably good for the long term, because, like I said, higher barrier to entry.
Yeah. So in case I do that, and hey, they need to have at least $250,000 income, liquid net worth of whatever higher income brackets, and I do a lot of that intersecting on my national campaigns or larger demographic or DMA campaigns. What I see is the cost per lead is going to be anywhere from $30 to $45 on those. So you need to have some kind of budget to work with when it comes to doing that. What has been working recently, I just switched up. I went and got more data from the people that actually purchased that opportunity and created a lookalike audience. And our leads on those campaigns of people that I don't know if they qualify yet, because I removed all those barriers. I'm just relying on Facebook's data. But the cost per leads have been like $25 or less, right? So I guess time will tell once he has more conversations on who's good. But out of like the 20, 25 or 30 leads we've gotten on that campaign, he said that 2 are submitting apps. So that's a good sign. Yeah, that's a really good sign. Yeah. And now I have that audience, right? So I got their data. I have other data I'm pulling from other places of people that fit certain criterias. And I'm just going to steal that audience and use it for other types of campaigns. Maybe I'll have do a lookalike, and maybe we could have Sema on a call one day to talk about the difference between lookalikes from 1 to 10%, as I know that 10% is going to give you more of a pool, but I don't know if it dilutes the quality. And those are conversations we can have later on. But going back to how this goes.
Real quick, I want to touch on the audiences because that's a good point. We have been doing a ton of custom audiences and lookalike audiences within our current local campaigns, and it's been doing extremely well. So I'm very, very interested in audiences. The more you can get the list. Look, guys, we might joke about Facebook. We might say fucking Facebook on here. Fact of the matter is Facebook is insanely smart, insanely good as far as an algorithm goes. And so if you can get those audiences, you can get those email lists, you can upload those, you can use those types of things. We're seeing tremendous results. Even if you take, the pixel from your landing page, upload those people, or from the thank you page, upload those as a custom audience. We're seeing great success, and you can actually make it so that you get big enough audiences so you can continue to go through them, and then you can build on them. The importance of audiences right now cannot be understated. It's something that over the last 3 months since working with Sema, who, we hired obviously, and she's done an amazing job for us for a lot of different things. And it's huge. So something that if you guys aren't messing around with those, start playing around with those. Highly recommend it.
Hey, Ross, actor post.
What's that?
Ross. We were talking about him earlier. But yeah, so let me get back into how that algorithm changed, how that fucked up your shit. It fucked up some of my shit, like some of the hiring campaigns I have. Some didn't really matter. Like I have a campaign we're spending $5,000 a month on, and I'm already doing lookalike audiences. It had no fucking effect on the whole process. Like I'm looking at it, I'm seeing leads coming in every day. Like, okay, so I didn't fucking touch it. But then I had another client that I had literally just onboarded them back in July. Close of July, we started work end of August or whatever, and now like we're doing good, and now all of a sudden this end of September, this fucking algorithm changed, right? So now it's like, oh, now I need to explain myself, right? So I threw together a video. I may have talked about it in the group or not. I threw together a video to send it to the VP who I work with, just to kind of let him know, hey, here's what happened. Here's some articles that show what Facebook changed. And that being said, here's how, because of this, it affected us because of this, right? So like I took the explanations from something I showed them on a video. Here's the article. This change has affected you because of this. And then I went into saying, here's what we're doing to remedy, and here's what we are thinking of doing moving forward into 2018, and so forth, right? And basically that conversation led made its way to the CEO, and basically is leading into me going to speak to their marketing department and their executive team sometime before the end of this year, most likely, which will lead to ultimately a nice high five-figure, possibly six-figure contract for me to do a program with them for their locations, right? So just like when that shit happens, don't fucking duck and hide. You have to, it's not like, some people took courses and they're like, oh, I only know this one funnel. I really don't know what's going on, right? So you're kind of fucked. I'm sorry. You have to dive in. You have to understand the mechanics and what's happening. But once you understand the mechanics and what's happening, you don't even necessarily have to know how to fix it. You just have to sound like you know how you're going to fix it and say, hey, I'm the right guy for this because I know so much more. Sure, hey, we might not have a resolution right now, but we're going to do this to remedy this in the short term, and right now what that was for me was taking their budget and pumping it all into one fucking huge asset with a lot of different little tweaks, right? And some different shit that I'm doing. But that being said, what that leads to, hey, we got something that's working right now in Q4. We're under $25 a lead. So guess what's going to happen in 2018? I need you to keep this running. I need you to keep paying for this. But now we're going to need more money to start doing some other stuff, right? Because I don't want to touch that. It's working.
That's a beautiful. We actually talked about doing it internally. Like maybe we just need to take it to some of our bigger clients and be like, look, you just got to give us like $15,000 a month so we hit that 50 ad set, 50 conversions or whatever it may be. Like I love that though. And it's so true. You bring up a great point with being transparent with clients. We told them, we let them know, hey, you know what? If there's something we can do, look, there's algorithm changes. Shit happens. Look, you can go Google it. You can go search it. We had to do that a couple times because we had some really, really tough campaigns, like major struggles with it, with the stupid learning thing. For anyone who doesn't know if you see the learning, that's what's caused nightmares. It's not as bad right now as it was 2 months ago when I was really causing issues with our reps. We're not seeing it as much at this moment, but I love that story. You turn it into a huge opportunity. even though it could have been looked at as a negative. You know, something bad was happening, you might lose a client freaking out, but the way you handled it could lead to something big. And that's so, so, so huge. How we handle the situations that come into us determines who we are. You know, we freak out, we lose our minds, fucking shit goes wrong, you know.
And that, like, dude, I mean, a lot of you guys here know, I've had a lot of brick and mortar businesses, and it's been in the tax space, right? So, I'm dealing with 5,000 plus lower income clients that I don't know if you know much about the lower income clients or the earned income credit or people that qualify for these tax credits. They're not the most savvy people on the planet, right? They're not the type of people that you're going to get a reasonable conversation out of. When shit happens, they start yelling. Like you're just a fucking bullseye target for them, right? They don't give a fuck. They're in your face. They're yelling. They're cursing, all that shit, right? So I've had to deal with that for a long time, and a lot of that's like this shit that happened. This was like a walk in the park, but those experiences have like, okay, here's how you handle situations. Because when you have 5,000, your phone's fucking ringing off the hook. You got employees that don't know how to handle customers, and you're sitting there and you just have to calmly explain. All right, we have to explain it this way. You have to piece it out. You have to give them a resolution or say how we're going to remedy or what we're doing for that. So like all of those experiences just kind of flowed in for like me to do that. And I had to do it for more than one client, right? I had to say, oh, okay, hey, here's what's happening. We had to make some changes. And the shit's going to happen. And you dealt with it in full force with a lot of clients, right? And it's really how you approach the conversation. They're going to be your clients, like the types of clients that we deal with on this end, on this type of business, are not as bad as the B2C side clients. Trust me when I tell you. Like the conversations are much more pleasant, even though sometimes they may yell or scream. Conversations are much more pleasant. You just have like, you take a breath, say, hey, just calm down. Here we go.
I sold tickets for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers when they went 2-14. You want a tough job? Go try and sell overpriced tickets to a pissed off football fan in the South, bro. Like, I mean, who's out there playing for the fucking team? Like, I mean, dude, it was B2C. Like, I mean, things can be tough, but a great lesson from that. You know, like there's definitely ways to handle it that you learn from it. But guys, just know it's gonna happen. To the best of the best, it happens. And at first, when it happens, you're going to freak out about it. You're going to lose sleep. That's part of the deal. I was there. But then you'll just learn to, just roll with the punches. I make jokes over here and say I'm a firefighter because I just put out fires every day. That's half my job. As you start to grow and get bigger, it happens. But you realize that there's also plenty of good people out there as well. Like, you just don't want to deal with assholes. You don't need to. You got to cut them off. You got to save them time. I just read a great book on my flight back, No BS Time Management for Entrepreneurs by Dan Kennedy. And it really opened my eyes to how much bad clients can take up of your time, not just your actual time, but your mental energy, thinking about them, worrying about them. I mean, that's not why we get into business, guys. Like, it just sucks.
Awesome, dude. Like to give you an example, like years ago when the IRS first announced, like they did a big delay in tax refunds for the early season clients, right? And they said, hey, nobody's getting their shit till mid-February, right? These people like used to getting their shit late January, right? Dude, that alone, everyone started bugging out. It was like the biggest nightmare. Everyone's calling you a scam and fucking this and that. This never happened before. Like, dude, that stuff takes a mental toll on you. It's exhausting. It is so fucking exhausting.
Speaking of that, people are freaking out because they're not getting their tax return 1 month later. All right, so think about the mindset those people are in. Alex Becker just made an amazing video. Sosa, I see Sosa's on here. He sent it to me yesterday. I went and watched it. I saw Sosa. If you're still on here, what's up, brother?
Tonight.
What's that?
Battlefront 2 tonight, Sosa.
He's actually so the video from Becker is about Battlefront 2, but it's about the poor mentality, the people who are waiting for that tax return and living and dying by it. The reason why you guys are here, the reason why you're watching, the why you follow who you follow, that you're trying to do this, is so we never have to do that again. We don't have to worry about getting our tax return and then getting pissed off at the tax company when the IRS makes a new deal. Like in the Becker video, which I would encourage everyone, first of all, to follow Alex Becker. He's a freaking the man, but his video is hilarious, and he talks about everyone getting super pissed off about charging like $20 for like a fucking, I don't even know, like some sort of add-on, and people are just losing their minds. And it's just like, what is wrong with the people when they're like freaking out over fucking $20? Go work hard, learn a skill, pay more. You know what I mean? ever have that, when you have that scarcity mentality, I can't tell you how some of that, this woo-woo, energy stuff works, but I promise you there's something to having an abundant mentality, believing that there's more out there, and not being scared to spend any money on stuff like that. That was a side tangent. Go watch it. It's a funny ass video. You should watch it after this. I don't know if he sent it to you or not, but
I don't know. I was watching some videos about that stuff earlier, like people going crazy.
Dude, Becker's best, bro.
I said hoorah person. I mean, I tell you that shit all the time. I know you are because it's in your last name, right? It's in the blood.
That's my man. Tony Robbins, my hero. Guy saved my life, bro. 10 years ago. I'll never forget. Fucking saved my life. We do have some good questions here from Chavez on the other page. I don't know why I don't see it on my phone, but I do see some. It's Chavez. If you're still watching, man, I just see him up here on the page now. Did you have anything else you wanted to add there? He's got some sales questions here.
So just to go to the mindset thing, the mentality, right? Well, you know what? We'll talk about that later. Let's get to some questions, guys. If you have questions,
with it, mindset and mentality is everything in life. You might not have to believe in the like law of attraction, and I'm not saying you're gonna sit in a basement and fucking wish for good things and they're gonna come to you. Like, that's not at all what it's about. It's about being mentally prepared to handle situations, because like we talked about earlier, everything in life comes down to how you handle the events that happen to you. And you always have a choice in how you're gonna react to those events. Balls, you could have freaked out and not done anything with that guy. Instead, you turned it into a very lucrative opportunity that we've been talking about offline. That's very fucking cool. I could probably run around and freak out and bash heads through windows every day over here if I wanted to. But we got to have a strong mindset. People say that for a reason. It's super important. Work on yourself. Go read some mindset books, in my opinion. I got a ton that we'll probably talk about. I'm sure I will as we start doing more.
We're going to put together a Nik Robbins Business on Bullshit roadmap.
Yeah.
And, recommended reading. I have some recommended reading that I've done when I first became a business owner. And you probably read Traction, right? You're probably so. Traction is this book that you need to read because of the type of business you're in now, like of what you're building. It was a book that gave me a lot of clarity when I went to multi-locations.
Yeah.
Right. So you're gonna want to check that out. Like, that's like legit strategy stuff that you can implement into your business right now.
Wickman.
Let me look. Amazon.
And we'll talk a lot more about mindset stuff too. And it's already been 45 minutes. I want to get to Chavez questions, man. Sorry, we didn't see these. I don't know why they're not on the phone here. Let's see if you're still here. He's talking about sales again. And he said, would you say reminding them how much will make them is one of the best ways to justify the services? Absolutely, Chavez. But you have to do it in a way where you can't just straight up tell somebody, hey, I'm going to make you $50,000, just give me $3,000. You have to walk them down the path to how they can subconsciously see that they're going to make $50,000 or $20,000 or whatever it may be. And you do that by saying, hey, we can get you XYZ amount of leads. Okay, so if we got you 15 leads, how many do you think will schedule? Okay, 8 will schedule. Perfect. You're going to close 4 of those. Awesome. You're selling 4 air conditioners. That's $3,000 a pop. You just made $12,000. You can't just strictly say, I'm going to make you this much ROI. You need to walk them down so it seems like they come up with the decision themselves. Phenomenal book. While we're here, if anyone's watching, Pitch Anything, best sales book I've ever read as far as talking with people and having a great presentation. It's fucking awesome, dude. If you haven't read it yet, I love it. It's such a good book. Let's see here. I find that most of the time when a business owner says no, it's because they don't see the value of what's being done. Chavez, that's what happens 100% of the time. They don't see the value of what's being done, especially at the numbers that we are talking. We're not talking $1 million deal. Everybody can find $3,000 to $5,000, whether that's charging a credit card, borrowing it from somebody. If they see enough value in it, they're going to go find it. Everybody can. It's 100% when we're talking these numbers that they don't see the value of what's being done. Now, I'm not saying that you're going to close 100% of people. If you start doing that, bro, get out there like Grant Cardone, it's just say the best. But that's really what it comes down to, is showing the value. But you want to show that to them so that they can realize it themselves, not tell them. There's a big difference between the two.
And I talked about that on our workshop and in the live before. We can rehash that conversation on a call one day and just kind of go through like my process, your process, stuff like that. But that call I had earlier today, same exact structure. I gave them the map. I'm like, hey, out of 10 people, if 10 people come into your practice or service or interested in your product, how many people do you think will convert? He told me, about 6 or 7. So he's like, yeah, my conversion rate. He actually mentioned my conversion rate is. I'm like, Okay, great. He mentioned the words, and I was surprised. Most people don't mention, oh, my conversion rate. So when you're having that conversation later, you can assume a lower conversion and still be okay, because a lower conversion is just a matter of what's going to happen with cold traffic, right? You're going to expect that stuff. We have some other questions. I don't know, Travis, I didn't see any of those questions. Joseph Bojang, my man. For clients that pay 5 plus or 5K plus, I guess, right? Would you ever let them net 30 after the receive an invoice? So I do have a client that I'm on a net 30 with. And that's just because the way their accounting business, their structure is on the accounting side, right? They just have to do, they have to send invoices out to accounting, and then accounting has that process, right? So it's a net 30. I got started right away because I'm like, hey, this is a good paying client. They have a good track record from other like references and stuff that I know that they work with, so that's fine. One thing I would recommend is, I don't know what you're doing. I think you do AdWords, so don't spend any money if they have to be in that specific situation. If you're just managing their account or something, then I mean it's your call if you think they're reputable. I did take that risk on one. It's been very lucrative for me with multiple deals with them. But yeah, it's okay. I know like John Logar, who you're actually coming to meet in New York, is going to tell you no. Yeah, and he kind of told me not to do it. And I was like, fuck it, I did it. And it's made me a lot of money, right? So, I mean, it's got to be for the right type of business. It's got to be for the person that you have confidence that will pay you, right?
I don't think it works for personally. For what we are doing, especially if we're running paid traffic. You're right, Balls. I'm not saying never. Life isn't black and fucking white. You know, there's always situation. But it would have to. There's almost no way that I would ever, and I've been asked this before by our biggest client at the time, and this was when it was about 50% of our revenue. It was a huge deal, and this happened in January, I think, of this year. And he asked if he could do something like that because newspapers allow it, TV or whatever. I never would, with the flakiness of people, with how and $5,000 is really not that much, you know. I mean, if we're talking, you know, it's not a $50,000 deal where cash flow can legitimately be an issue. You know, $5,000 really isn't that much money at all. I know it might sound like a lot, might feel like a lot or whatever, but it's not. And it shouldn't be any type of real money to any type of business owner. You know, it just shouldn't. So I personally wouldn't. What's that?
No, I was going to tell Joseph, what you could also do is if they're asking you that because that's just how their accounting works and that's just how their business is structured, then there may not be wiggle room. If they're asking you that for whatever other reason, just to see if you give them terms, what you could do is do like a 30% down, and we're going to bill you, the difference at X date.
Yeah, what do you use this for, Joseph? What are you providing here, man? That'll help me, because look, if we're talking a website and you do 50% down and 50% when it's done, that's different. I'm sorry, I always get stuck in pay traffic. I forget there's other ways to make money online.
He does. I know he does AdWords. But I don't know what else.
I would never front a dime. So if you're fronting any budget, no way, not even close.
Don't front the budget. So right now, if what you're saying is AdWords, there's no wiggle room. It's because that's how their company's structured. You may have to understand that, but don't spend any money on your card, right? You're gonna get access to their account or set up their card on your account, however AdWords works, and then do it that way. Where, hey, but I don't know. You're also using I don't know if you're using an outsourcer that you have to pay, like Invisible PPC or something. If you are, then that's a risk you're gonna have to take if you want to take it. But that could be like a $400 risk or whatever they charge, right?
Joseph, shoot me a message after the call, bro. Talk some PMs. We can talk deeper about that.
Yeah. Oh, we got some more people watching. Matt Clapp's on watching with us.
Is Clapp coming to New York?
No, I don't think so.
Matt,
guys, who's coming to New York?
Guys, if anyone on who doesn't know about New York wants a free ticket, we still have free tickets, right? Or did you turn that off?
No, we still got a few left.
Okay.
A few left. We got a lot of people coming to New York, more so than Denver, more than San Diego. So this summer will be there.
Watching. You like literally should like fucking open credit cards to come to this. I'm dead serious. I make no money off of this. I make nothing off of John Lagarde, but I paid him in February. We had just done $100,000 in February. Last month we were right around 300,000, basically tripled. A lot of it had to do with advice he had given me. I mean, that's a big triple right there. I owe that guy everything. I'm probably going to get up there and give a speech for him while we're there about, in the hot seat, share my experience with him. I have nothing but unbelievable respect for that guy. He goes above and beyond. I'm in multiple different, very expensive consulting and mastermind programs. He's by far the most hands-on, and the guy has the experience. He's in the fight. He's still in the fight right now. He's not just someone he sold out of the fight, spent 2 weeks on vacation, got back in the fight again, and now he's built, what, a $10 million agency in like 3 years or something? Fucking absurd. Just absolutely insane.
The hot seat's going to be fun, especially I did the hot seat in Denver. I was like, oh, okay, like I just told them the real shit, all the shit that you don't hear people talk about, like the hard stuff. And then there's some good stuff too, right? But I can't wait to hear your hot seat. We put on
the hard stuff of running a business, you mean?
No, I mean I had some shit that happened, in the agency and all that stuff around that time, chargebacks, a whole bunch, the story. Yeah. So I kind of said, hey, you know what? This is the shit that happens, right? You got to deal with it. So it definitely makes you a little bit when you're running businesses and shit's gonna hit the fan. Like Nick's putting out fires left and right all the time. I'm trying to avoid that because I've dealt with that for years, but it's gonna happen. So you gotta be able to roll with the punches, right?
So look, guys, none of this shit. If it was easy, everyone would do it. There's a lot of overwhelm. There's a lot of stuff, but at the end of the day, it's all worth it, and at least you're being overwhelmed at something that you're in control of, and you're not building something else, somebody else's life, somebody else's dream. And there is times and breakthroughs. I know a lot of people on here have heard my story. I went 8 months with zero sales. I didn't know if I could sell shit, and I had left from being a top sales rep for a long time before I figured things out. That was a couple of years ago now, but it takes time, it takes effort, and once you do get through, I mean, at the end of the day, I can still sit down and be satisfied. Yes, is there constant fires, but you just kind of learn to, shit's gonna happen. Where do we need to fucking use the hose today and put out, but it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun, and there's tremendous opportunity out there, and it's only getting bigger. It is literally only getting bigger, more opportunity, more and more people are going online, more and more people are using social media, Instagram, YouTube, even Snapchat, although the earnings report for Snapchat from last week was really fucking bad. I don't know if you saw that. Shorting Snapchat would have been the easiest thing ever. I don't know how that shit IPO'd at $30 billion, but that's a whole other discussion.
All their funny, good features.
Yeah, well, Snapchat was never making any money. At least like before they IPO, they were net loss of $616 million. Anyways, the stock market.
We got into conversations, and I'm sure we got long conversations about people that all they're looking for is to get funded to make a business. Like, come on, like I don't know. This is me off too sometimes. And you come from that area, that part of the world where a lot of people think that that's the only way to make it.
Yeah, and it's not the funnest way to make it either. I have Ben. I have a fortunate. He actually was in that situation. He borrowed $300,000, at one point, and it was like a fucking scare. And he borrowed it from a friend who's the nicest person in the history of the world. I could only imagine taking it from like an angry VC capital company, and that's why when me and Ben got together, he's like, we will not accept money from anybody ever, no matter fucking what. And I was just like, shit, all right, how bad, and now I get why, why you don't want to do that. Gary Vee talks about that all the time, nonstop.
Like suicides and stuff that happens with people, which is a topic like, I mean, I've taken money, my stories, like I've had a lot of debt. So I've been in and out of debt on business for a long time, and now I'm clear. So it's like, definitely.
So I was told this once a couple of years ago. And I really feel like it was one of the best things I ever heard. And it was the fact that lack of resources as an entrepreneur is the ultimate fucking advantage. If you don't have resources, you don't have money to go throw at the problem, you have to think smart. You have to think outside the box. And then once you get through into that other side, you become such a stronger human being. And I really can connect with that now, going back and listening to that same message that I had heard a couple of years ago. Lack of resources is the ultimate advantage because it makes you have to become better. You can't just, literally, you can't just go raise more money and throw your way out of it, you have to jimmy rig it on your own. And it's also much better to own everything as well, especially in this agency style world. I mean, granted, we're not trying to create not trying to go to the moon or fucking create the next big thing. I'm going to be working on that shit, though. It's going to be good. Dude, traveling to Thailand, maybe just want to like be a part of international massive business on a global scale. Like I'm going big next year. It's gonna be fun.
Do we have any more questions? We got, I don't know, my feed's like it's like slow.
So mine is like kind of working on the phone, and then
Covered a lot. We covered a lot so far. Guys,
Yeah.
if you have any questions, anything you guys want us to chat about, but also like we're planning on doing more frequent lives. So we need to know what you guys want to hear about. Like you get care less like what we're doing in our business. Sure, that may give you some clarity on some stuff, but I mean we have different backgrounds, different insights on different things that people have gone through. So take advantage of that and ask us questions because, I mean, there's a lot of shit that Nik does that he does in his business that I'll never even think of, and there's a lot of stuff that I do in mine that he would never think of, right? So ask your questions. Definitely, we're not the group that holds stuff back to sell you something later. Maybe we'll sell you something later, but we're not because of it.
Yeah, we're gonna have some more fun. I really want to get back into growing this thing. There was a couple months there with the office and getting 10 employees and getting them trained, and there's some adjustment periods here. But I pulled myself out of sales in a lot of ways and really focusing on getting schedules in the future. So I got a lot more time. Really want to give back. We got some cool. We're gonna keep having guests on. We've got a good network. I think Tuesday we're gonna be talking about bots, messengers, ads, the thing that we're really gonna be hitting hard. I'm going after it soon. I'm digging deep. My Thanksgiving day is gonna be fucking learning how to build bots on ManyChat and literally doing that shit.
There's a lot of buzz going on about it, right? I see the power in it, and
it's the push notifications, bro. It's the push notifications instead of the email. We'll talk about. We'll have a whole thing about that next Tuesday.
I do want to make a comment on it because I see a lot of people jumping around, right? And the shiny object syndrome, and I do want to make a comment on that because all of a sudden over the past few months, there's like different courses coming out on how to do messenger bots for business, this and that, all over, right? When like 5 months ago you were just doing Facebook ads, right? So one of the things that I don't know, I've never sold a messenger bot only. I'm sure it's a great lead-in offer. One of the things that I'm a firm believer in is not reinventing the wheel as far as, here's my perspective from an outside business owner, right, that may not know anything about messenger bots. The amount of time it takes for you to explain it to them, and I'm sure there's other ways to do it, and I think Mackenzie will have some topics on that because I heard her speak about it recently, but the amount of time that you have to spend, like imagine you spend time explaining people's Facebook ads and how they work, and most of the time they don't get it. Now, you're going to go and explain them something like messenger bots when it's super fucking fresh, and they're not going to fucking understand that.
In 2017, and it gets an 80% open rate. Boom. Email is important, right, Mr. Business Owner? Yeah, I do. Okay, it's this. Boom. Sell them, move on. No, but I hear you. You're right. And it's also something that isn't going to be around forever at all, but there is going to be a wave. But again, it took 18 years, and email is still extremely profitable, but it took 18 years from emails to go from 80% open rates to 15%. But it's one of those things where we got to stay up on the times, stay up on the trends. I've had some personal things happen with emails and just seeing emails drop off and things die off a bit recently, and noticing some stuff with all these push notifications and messenger bots. That's why I'm really getting big into it and really going to be testing it and playing with it, because I'm seeing the 80% open rates. And there is a lot of courses out there, but I don't think it's nowhere near mainstream at all. So it'll be really fun to talk about that on Tuesday. What's that?
There's interesting that you can do with it, like we were talking about a little bit offline, of how to just roll that into your existing offering and make your clients' leads perform better, right, to help them convert. And those are some of the stuff that we're going to be looking into here in the next couple of weeks. And I think it's going to be super powerful, and I think that the hammer will come down very soon with the whole aspect of being able to broadcast, and because people are going to, just like SMS texts, like SMS blasts, were huge, but now anytime I get one, I text stop, right? So, like, there's going to be some, it's going to have a nice wave, but don't build your business on just that, right? So you gotta just stay innovative, but as long as you understand the principles, then whatever the vehicle is the vehicle. I don't know if I would go and make my business say, oh, we do messenger bots for X, right? I don't think I would do that. But I may offer that as a solution, right? In the vehicle. right? So
At the end of the day, like you said, you're using it as a vehicle. It's a platform to get the message across and help increase it and get in front of people. Those are always going to change, and they're going to change faster and faster as we continue to evolve at just a sickening rate as a country or world or whatever. But yeah, you're 100% right. I think slaps are going to come, but right now we got to take advantage of what's working. And I mean, slaps have come to email over and over and over again, and it's still here and it's still making money.
yeah,
So it's going to be a little bit before I think it truly gets dragged out. But those are all very valid concerns. And like I said, I definitely wouldn't build a. I mean, I don't know. I can't argue with people selling courses or whatever and doing what they're doing, right now to catch the wave. But I certainly wouldn't make it the function of my business. Just right. We'll talk about this later too. But Facebook ads it's got to be a pillar, and then you want to develop more pillars as we move on. AdWords is doing tons of shit for local businesses right now. There's so many other variables.
AdWords been around way longer, right? So
yeah. AdWords had its biggest year ever this year. People might think that AdWords is dying because AdWords had the biggest year it's ever had, and it's getting better for local businesses, especially some of the service shit. I just saw some new stuff the other day. I haven't been following too much Google stuff for a while, but saw the new service ads where they're basically looking to eliminate home advisory as a company because of the way that they're structured.
Thumbtack, all that shit. All that shit's gonna.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. And like, everyone's like talking Facebook ads, the sexy thing. The benefit you guys have with AdWords is you don't have to learn it. There's so many companies that will white label for you that service that you can offer it for your clients right now. You don't have to know shit about it, right? And if you guys want recommendations, obviously people talk about Invisible PPC. A buddy of mine, Ed Stapleton, who's in John Logan's group, he has a white label agency that does it. We're gonna have him on one of these in the coming days or weeks. We'll schedule something for him to talk about AdWords, his service, all that stuff for people that are looking to offer it. He's a solid guy, good reputation, does the work. I had a good call with him last week. We have some questions from James Kurth.
Yeah, I see that here, man. Can you tell us what is the biggest struggle you have as a business owner that makes working the business hard? Like what aspect? James, I think this is a great question, and it's one of those things that truly evolves over time. Today, right now, my biggest issue is being able to have time to focus on creative vision and growth and making sure that we're moving the company forward and staying up on these trends. A year and a half ago, it was sales. 6 months ago, it was client retention. So it's all very much changed depending on where we're at in the business. But right now for me today, it's allocating time and working on not getting distracted during the day. When you've got 11 people right here in the office that are coming on all the time asking me questions, which I'm happy for them to do, it makes it hard to really focus on creative work, projects, shooting videos, content, those types of things. So right now, that's definitely my biggest issue.
Yeah, so you're in that building content phase. Like that's some of the stuff I'm looking at too. For me, a couple of things. I have like a million things that I want to get done. And I get distracted half the time. It's like, oh, I got to do this. But then I spend most of the time figuring out, okay, how am I going to do this? And then I have like another thing I have to get done, or a client, something fucking happens, right? So that's probably the biggest thing. Overall, business wise, the advice I've given to a lot of people that I've trained in the brick and mortar world, and like kind of like that I've given guidance to, and the biggest problem I've always seen is people are getting in their own way. I think that's like that whole factor of you're there, like I said, there's so much stuff you gotta get done, but you're just getting in your own way. There's like always something in the forefront. You just have to, and that's something that I'm working on every day, even until this day, is you just have to say, all right, here's my list, here's what I gotta do, but only just do that one thing, right? Stop, just get out of your own way. If there's a system or process you're gonna do, like, so for example, Nik has video prospecting, like that's like one of his methods he did in the beginning. He just went and fucking kept doing it. He just got out of his way. He's like, all right, let me just keep doing it, let me keep doing it, and it ends up working, right? So a lot of times, and that's kind of was hinting at before, like the messenger bots and maybe this or that and that, is a lot of people are just jumping too quick to something or a new way to do something instead of building or perfecting something that they know is going to work or has worked for somebody else, right? Ultimately, we're not reinventing the wheel, right? All this stuff has been spoken about in various courses, various trainings, various groups, talking about a lot of it comes down to the same core steps. And I think more people are getting in their way by looking for shortcuts or the next way to get there instead of just doing what's in front of them.
Absolutely. And I can't stress enough shiny object syndrome and how much to avoid that. I have it today, and I always have to avoid it, especially when I've got friends who are doing this. Oh, I just made fucking 100K in Bitcoin yesterday, or this or that. Like, I mean, all kinds of shit dragging me. Stay with one thing. It's gonna work if you just keep going with it. I mean, I'm not saying go sell radio ads or whatever, make sure it's not fucking retarded, but, stick with something. Don't give up. People give up way too easily. We made a joke earlier about how 90% of the people who took courses a year and a half ago aren't around today. It's because they didn't do anything. They didn't go out. They didn't persevere. It's not fucking easy to make 10 grand a month or whatever goal you might have, 20 grand, 30 grand, going up. It takes time. There's a reason why such a small percentage of the fucking world is able to do it. But when you can, it's completely worth it to be able to provide that type of lifestyle for your family, provide income, not have to worry about $20 for an addition to fucking Battlefront or whatever it is. Go watch that video, dude. Alex Becker. It's great. But I can't stress how important that is to stay focused, to stay grinding. And it's scary. You're going to have to be prepared to be scared and be uncomfortable. It's so super important. I've almost gotten to a point, like I was mentioning earlier, that I was like too comfortable when I was in Thailand. And if I'm not like pushing myself, I like instantly go out, okay, what can I do that's going to scare me a little bit? So right now I'm working on building a YouTube channel, Instagram. I'm not someone who likes to go out and talk about my, self or, go out and project things out there. It's just not a huge thing for me. I know it might seem like I talk a lot on these things, but like, I mean, social media has always been to me, I've never used it until I started doing Facebook ads, but I'm gonna start building a channel, building Instagram, doing those types of things because I know one, I have a very strong plan to profitize it, but two, it's going to make me uncomfortable. So go do that shit. Be prepared. If it was easy, everyone would do it.
Yeah, man.
Well, good shit. It was good to be back. It's good to be back. I think we're gonna do fucking Friday tomorrow, and then we'll be going live next week too. Everyone's got, we got Thanksgiving holidays. We'll be going live Thanksgiving right around 5 Eastern. No, I'm just kidding. But I'm down. I'm gonna be in the office on Thanksgiving, so I have no life, and
I'm good. I'll be like eating over there in the next room. I'll just come over whatever. It doesn't matter.
But it's good to be back, guys. Yeah.
For those of you guys watching right now that haven't followed us in a while or haven't seen what we've done in a while, because we've been kind of like off and on, Fucking Friday is a night where we get on a Google Hangout. So we'll be on Hangouts. We're going to give you the link, and we just basically just talk about business, whatever, bullshit a little bit. But we just get everybody in one room, and it's all just like, hey, we've had times where there was like 3 people on. We've had times where there was like 10 people on. We just talk about whatever comes up, right? So there's no set agenda. Everyone is welcome to join when they see us pop up live. It'll probably be around is like 5-6 p.m. Eastern good for you or earlier?
Yeah. Tomorrow I can do it. We're good. Right now our clients
I like this. I'm gonna make, because before when Nick was like the only sales guy in his office, like every live we did, I had to wait till like 9 Eastern. We'd be done at like fucking 10, 11 Eastern. Because he's like, so now it's like, hey, I bring up 5 o'clock, and he's like, yeah, I'm good. So there's a big difference in like what 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 months can make, right?
Which big difference, guys. A year ago at this time, we barely cracked 10 grand as an agency, and now it's 30 times that, literally. I mean, shit can happen quickly if you stay the course, learn from the right people. If you're not going to John's event, go to John's event. And, continue to follow people who are doing shit. But, yeah, we're happy to be back. Let us know any questions, all that good stuff. And, yeah.
Yeah, John's event in New York City, November 29th, and November 30th and December 1st. Somebody, if you want to get attended, we have discount, free tickets for everybody, $100 refundable when you show up. It's in New York City, so if you can make it, find the post somewhere on this page about it. And get the coupon code so you can don't have to pay $1,200 or whatever it is if you want to go, or just message me and I'll get you the information. Yeah, it's definitely you don't want to miss that event. Last year I went to that event. I hired John pretty much right after, but out of that event last year I added an additional $15K to my business. So stuff does happen. People in Denver that were there, immediately added revenue to their business. So it's stuff like it's a real world workshop. Like you're gonna actually do shit there. So come with your laptop, be prepared to work, and make some money.
Yeah, let's do it. All right. Hope everyone's having fun.
We're off.
We are off. All right. It's off now.